for most people, the decision to partner is more emotionally driven. And the first two steps of the framework are designed to connect emotionally very quickly with the person you're sharing it with. Welcome to the Nonprofit Launch Plan podcast. For startups, small and growing nonprofits, this podcast exists to help you build your nonprofit from the ground up on a strong foundation. Every episode, we give you frameworks, tools, and the personalized guidance you need to create lasting impact. I'm your host, Matt Stockman. Thrilled you're here. Thank you so much for making the time to invest in growing your nonprofit. At Nonprofit Launch Plan, we believe that every nonprofit must be operating at peak performance in 6 key areas in order to be successful. The 6 areas are leadership, development or fundraising, marketing, programs and services, operations, and finances. And on every episode of the podcast, we talk about a topic that is core to one of these 6 areas. And today, we are highlighting the second step in the Fearless Fundraising Framework, and that's positioning the potential giver to your nonprofit as the solution to the problem that your nonprofit solves. Step 1, which was last week's podcast, is about getting specific about the problem that your nonprofit is meant to solve, and then step 2 is putting the giver in the seat to be the solution to that problem. So before we get into it, I do want to tell you about a special freebie that I've got for you. If you're struggling with fundraising, let's be honest, it's the number one pain point for most everybody launching a nonprofit, and it should be at least 80% of what you're concentrating on to begin with. I've got a great free mini course. It's a PDF workbook and 5 short videos that will walk you through these 5 core steps of the Fearless Fundraising Framework. These 5 steps create a proven plan. It's a process that will build your confidence in fundraising, takes out all the fear, and creates more results. More people partnering with you and supporting your work. The reason fundraising can be so challenging is most people go into it without a plan, or all they've heard is to start by talking to all your friends and family, and then that's it. This core fundraising framework really solidifies in your mind the emotional journey that anybody who gives to any nonprofit or ministry work goes through, so that when you understand that, you can sit with anybody, friend, stranger, doesn't matter, and guide them through the process of how their involvement fits into the impact your work is going to make. Now, the mini course is free. You can get it just by going to the website, nonprofitlaunchplan.com. Again, nonprofitlaunchplan.com. So last time we talked about the first step in the fundraising framework is to get specific about the problem that your work is meant to solve. In order for your fundraising appeal or a marketing message to cut through, people have to have clarity on what the problem is that your nonprofit is tackling. That's step 1. So step 2 then, no surprise, is the solution to the problem. Seems pretty simple, right? Well, it is, but it's not at the same time. Let me surprise you with one important point right here that might seem just a little bit counterintuitive, but go with me. You and your nonprofit's work are not the solution. I'll say it again. Whatever the problem is that your nonprofit was designed to solve, you and your work are actually not the solution. Rather, it's the impact of your work that is the solution to the problem. And more specifically, although you don't really say this yet to anybody, it's the impact that the potential financial support of the person you're talking to creates. That is the solution to the problem. In other words, we're positioning the potential giver as the hero of your nonprofit story. Throughout this whole journey, through the 5 steps of the fundraising framework, it's important to maintain the big idea in the back of your mind that as you communicate with a potential financial partner, that you're always telling the story of what you do in a way that the potential partner is always the hero of the story. It's this fundamental shift in mindset that really energizes your fundraising efforts. Now, let's make it practical. Last episode, I gave the example of getting specific about a problem by talking about a nonprofit organization that puts water wells in Africa. We said the problem of people in Africa need clean drinking water is just too general. So instead, we made the problem more specific. In the Rusumo village in Rwanda, Over 140 families have to walk 3 miles a couple of times each day to access water, which is a dirty pond that animals are drinking from as well. It's the only option they have, and as a result, all the kids in the village are sick all the time. Very specific problem. Now, we introduce the solution as a direct response to the problem that's specific and is about impact and emotion. This village needs 3 wells, and the villagers need the resources to be able to capture rainwater during rainy season. As soon as that's done, the kids are healthy again and back in school. While I don't want to get ahead of myself and jump ahead to the third step in the framework, you can really feel how this language is setting up the person who is hearing this message to be the hero. Listen to it all together. Problem is this. In this particular village in Rwanda, there's 140 families with no access to clean water except a dirty pond 3 miles away. All the kids in the village are sick all the time as a result. Now the solution. This village needs 3 wells and the resources to be able to collect rainwater, which will allow the kids to get healthy again and get back in school. Now in this moment, when we focus on the second step and introduce the solution, it can be really easy and really natural to turn the camera on ourselves and use a lot of we language. We have a plan to put 3 water wells strategically around the village. We have a goal to educate the whole community on how to capture rainwater. We. The problem is when you use the word we or our or my too much, you're positioning yourself as the hero of the story. Now, don't hear me say you can never use those words. It's just simply you want to make sure in order for the framework to be as powerful and as effective as it is designed to be, the main focus of the solution is on the impact, and the receiver of the message is the hero. So let's do another, just as a follow-up example so you can start to hear it. The problem is this. In this city, there's 10% more homeless people on the street tonight than any place else in the state. And for a homeless person, one of the biggest struggles is finding something decent to eat. When you're hungry, you can't think about anything else. This is a more specific problem than there are homeless people on the streets in our town. Now, the solution. A meal at the rescue mission is nutritious, hot, and is the key to restoring hope in somebody who's on the streets, and it only costs $2.24. The first 2 steps of problem and solution are crucial to creating a sense of excitement for potential partners. I once worked with a nonprofit that provided accounting and operation support services to other nonprofits. And as you can imagine, they were really having a really tough time getting people to kind of catch the vision of why they should support that work financially. There's nothing particularly cause-oriented or feel-good about a nonprofit that provides operation support to other nonprofits. But they were able to overcome it and raise the financial support from the community they needed as soon as we were able to connect the dots in potential givers' minds of somebody behind the scenes taking care of the proper accounting meant that frontline nonprofit workers had more time out in the community meeting the needs of the people rather than stuck in an office doing admin work. That made all the difference, and people gave to it. A word of caution, it can be very common to try to go into a ton of detail about the problem and solution, to point to a lot of data or numbers that highlight the problem, and to get into kind of a layered explanation about all the ways the work you're doing is going to alleviate that problem with more data and more facts and figures. And truthfully, the vast majority of people just don't care that much about that stuff. Some do, and the good news is they'll ask you about it. When they do, then you share that information. But for most people, the decision to partner is more emotionally driven. And the first 2 steps of the framework are designed to connect emotionally very quickly with the person you're sharing it with. Once you feel like you've got the problem and solution boiled down to the real essence, just a couple of lines, you've got to memorize it. And if you've got a team, they've got to get it ingrained in them too. Okay, to review. Step 1, identify the problem and be as specific as you can. Step 2 in the Fearless Fundraising Framework is share the solution, and remember, you're not the solution. It's about impact and the potential giver having the opportunity to be the hero in the story. I know this can be complicated, but I promise doing the hard work now will really begin to turn light bulbs on in your mind and will help you gain more confidence in sharing your nonprofit's financial needs in a meaningful and winsome way. Up next is step 3 in the fundraising framework, and where the fun really begins, it's the ask. and turning words into action. That'll be on next week's episode. That's it for the Nonprofit Launch Plan podcast for startups, small and growing nonprofits for today. Thanks so much for investing the time in growing your organization, for starting what you're starting and not losing heart. I know everything about starting a nonprofit feels overwhelming at times, but I'm here alongside you as a cheerleader and guide whenever you need it. And if you've got a special question or an issue that you're facing and you'd like to talk about it, it's really easy to book some free time on my calendar. When you do, exactly what's going to happen is this. So you're not surprised. There's no pressure. There's no obligation. There's no pitching. Just some get-to-know-you time for the both of us where we can talk about whatever you're dealing with. We'll chat, and I'll follow up within 24 hours guaranteed with some recommendations for next steps if I think I can help you in any way. The whole thing is free. Also, remember the other freebie I've got for you on the website. If you want to binge all the material related to the 5 steps of the Fearless Fundraising Framework, I've got this easy-to-use workbook with the 5 short videos that go along with it that take you all through the 5 steps. It'll build your confidence in knowing how to invite others to partner with your nonprofit financially. It's absolutely free. You can get it on the website at nonprofitlaunchplan.com. Again, nonprofitlaunchplan.com. That's all for this episode of the Nonprofit Launch Plan podcast for startups, small and growing nonprofits. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next episode. And if you found this helpful in any way, please share it with somebody else, another nonprofit leader who you think might benefit from it. Until next time, keep making an impact.